Kiven Yisrael. Kshurim Makadosh Baruch Hu Shu Ein Sof Hari Hashlemus Hamiti Shalahem Higam Ba'ifin Shlein Sof. Since the Yid are connected with Hashem, and Hashem is infinite, therefore their true completion and perfection is also in the way of being infinite. Hainu, this means the more it grows, the quality of their service, till in a way of completion and perfection. Ad ledargas tzaddik, until their level of tzaddik, which is not something beyond the ken of an ordinary person, but like the Rebbe always quotes the pasuk, "V'am michulin tzaddikim," your nation are all tzaddikim. So all of us are growing and reaching the level of a tzaddik. Despite that, yoidim umargishim tzrichim lisalus ledarga v'shleimus nailus oidyoser. They know and they feel that they need to ascend to a level, an even higher level of perfection. And this itself, top of the second column, that they feel and are aware that their perfection and completion was not yet concluded. Even more so, not only was their perfection not concluded, but even more so. Now we need to begin to grow and to sprout. We need to ascend to an ascent. It's incomparable to their previous state and situation, to such a degree that they will be considered as if just now their growth begins. So therefore, even though there's a level of completion and perfection, still in all, that doesn't have the same power, because we are infinite, in comparison to what we need to still grow after this and following this. And that's why the Rebbe goes on to explain later on over here that it's the 15th of every month. It does not express this powerful nature of how a person has to grow in such an amazing way. The Rebbe also in the footnote says that this is also hinted in the difference in tzaddikim and Baalei Tshuva, that tzaddikim are something that's complete, that tzaddik gomer is complete, but Baalei Tshuva applies to all, that we're always in a state of growth. And this is also even in the 15th of every month, you have this concept that the 15th of every month, as soon as you're done with the 15th, the moon starts waning and starts getting less, indicating that whatever we attained now, it's insufficient. We have to reach higher and greater. So let's go on further in Daled. V'nimtza comes out, on the 15th of Shvat, there's an advantage and a quality over every 15th of every month of the year. Including also in various details over the 15th of the month of Nisan and the 15th of the month of Tishrei. In the 15th of every month of the year, it's emphasized primarily the fullness of the moon and the perfection and completion of the moon. Top of the next page. Hainu, this means the state and leveled and the avoid of the Yidden it is incumbent upon us, and it becomes in a way of fullness and completion. As opposed to the 15th of Shvat, the head of years for the trees, mudgish speakers emphasized primarily. Not so much the fullness of the moon, the completion, the perfection that was up till now. But even more, that even following the fullness and the completion of the past, Nidreshes avoida nalas yoiser. It's demanded an even greater avoida adli ilusha ba'ein aroich, until an advantage that's incomparable. Hascholas tzmicha v'gidl mechadash, from the beginning of a renewed sprouting and growth. Besigren acher ktsas, to put it a little bit differently. Hashleimus the chamish also b'chol chadashim hin shleimus al piseder v'adragim v'didavagbol. The perfection of the 15th of the month in all the months of the year is a perfection and completion that is in an orderly fashion. It has medida v'agbola, it's measured, it has a boundary. Hachel memoilot halavana b'Rish Chodesh, beginning from the birth of a new moon on Rish Chodesh. U'moise v'hoilach v'yom l'yom, and it increases and grows day after day. Ad lemili v'shleimus halavana b'chamish asar boy, until the fullness and completion of the moon in the 15th day of the month. As opposed to the perfection of the 15th of Shvat, it's a perfection that's beyond the order and step-by-step level medida v'agbola that's measured and has a boundary. Shleimus amitis ba'ifin shalein sof, a true perfection in a way that's infinite. Shalachein milos hashleimus hareza rak haschol satzmichel gab shleimus nilos yoysa ad ein soif. The perfection of and the quality of completion is only the beginning. That completion that I reached on the 15th of the month, that perfection that I reached, that's only the beginning of my growth to something that's an even greater completion and perfection, and so on to no end. Since the 15th of the month of Shvat is the head of the year for the tree, Rosh Daika, the lotion that's used is specifically the head. Loidak Tchila, it's not just called the beginning of the year for the tree. Bedugmas harosh hakoil hachayis techol evori aguf manhigam chulum, similar to the head that includes in it the life and vitality of all the limbs of the body and directs the entire body. This is something that comes down for the entire year. This means that avoid of the entire year should be not only in a perfection that's according to an orderly, progressive fashion. It is a true completion and perfection in the way that's infinite. That is what the head supplies for the rest of the year, that the entire year, not just the 15th of the month of Shvat, but my entire year should be in a way of an infinite growth, an infinite perfection. So, this idea could have been expressed in any other month. So the Rebbe is going to explain an amazing thing, that why it has a connection specifically with the month of Shvat. We can add and explain the reason why the perfection that's hinted in the day that's the Rosh Hashanah for the trees. Shleimus hamitis, it's a true perfection, in a way of ongoing growth. Mudgeshes b'chodesh Shvat, it's specifically emphasized in the month of Shvat. It's known. Yud Beis Chodshei Hashanah, the 12 months of the year, and Keneged Yud Beis Shifti Yisrael, top of the second column. It corresponds to the 12 Shvatim. And the Rebbe brings in the footnote. So what about when we have a Shana Muberes, and we have a leap year? So then it's brought down that Levi is perhaps that, or Yosef's Shevet is divided into two. That's the two others. However that may be. But Valpizeh Chodesh Shvat, Chodesh Hayur Aleph Manisan, according to this, that the month of Shvat is the 11th month from Nisan, who Keneged Shevet Yosef, corresponds to the Shevet of Yosef. Hayur Aleph Lefsiseder Toldoisem Shal Shvatim. This is the 11th, according to the birth. He was the child that was born number 11 to Yaakov Avinu. Binyamin was number 12, Reuven was number 1, etc. So Therefore, he corresponds to the 11th month. There's a different place where the Rebbe speaks about. There's a different opinion that says that it goes according to a different order, and Asher has to do with Shvat, but that's not for here. So what's the connection between Yosef and Shvat, and therefore the connection with this idea that we just now explained about Rosh Hashanah Lilanis? V'inyan shel Yosef, the idea of Yosef, skip the parentheses. Bechinas hatzemeach, the idea of Yosef is the level of vegetation, growing things. Ki yadua, as it's known, this is from the Rebbe's, from the Mittler Rebbe's Mamarim and so on. The Bechinas Yisoid, Bechinasik Shel Yosef. Yosef also corresponds to the Sphira of Yisoid in the 10 Spheres. Nikra Eitz Oiseh Pri. It's called a tree that gives fruit. V'nikra Eitz HaSoda. It's called the tree of the field. V'lchein Nikra Yosef. V'lkach Nikra Yosef. That's why it's called Yosef. Shetamid Yosef Oir V'Shefa. He's constantly adding light and giving more. Kitzemeach v'gadol b'tmidus, like a growing thing, like vegetation that's constantly growing and sprouting forth. B'li Shiur klal without any measure whatsoever. V'zeu inyan Yosef lashon tosefes tmidus, and that's the idea of Yosef, from the word constant addition, constant increase. Like when Rachel named Yosef, she said, Yosef Hashem li ben Achar, Hashem should add to me another son. So we see that Yosef is in the word increase. So it fits in perfectly with the theme that we're talking about the Rosh Hashanah Lilanis. The L'chein, last paragraph on the page. Rosh Hashanah La Ilan Haschol Satzmicha B'Chol Shana Kulam, the beginning of the growth of the entire year, the power and empowerment for our growth every day of the year. Shayach L'Chodesh Shvat is connected with the month of Shvat, which is also has to do with the word Shevet, has to do with the tree, the shoot that comes out of the tree. The Rebbe says in the footnote, Shiftoi Shal Yosef, the Shevet of Yosef. That by him, by the Shevet of Yosef, Mud gestaper on the next page, Inyan Haisafa Vatzmicha, the idea of increase and growth. And it's not just something that's only for Yosef, but Yosef impacts and brings this according to the other Shvatim. From Yosef, this comes down this idea of increase and growth to all the Shvatim. How is that? We know that the Shvatim are really intermingled one with another. The Rebbe always brings down that in Kedusha, everything is combined with everything else. Every mitzvah includes in it all the other mitzvahs. Every one of the Shvatim includes all the other Shvatim. Every Yid includes all the other Yid. And we actually find this in the brachas that Yaakov Avinu benched the Shvatim. Al derech mashakasav birchas Yaakov la Shvatim, similar to what it says in the bracha of Yaakov Avinu to all the Shvatim. It says, Ish asher ki birchasai beirach oisam. Every man, according to his bracha, he benched them. What does it mean he benched them according to his bracha? So Chazal explained, Rashi brings us down. After Yaakov Avinu benched every shevet according to their individual level, according to what was their bracha birchasai, then beirach oisam, then he benched them all. Shachazar v'kolam kulam b'chol habrachas. He then afterwards included all of them in all the brachas he gave to each one. He called Yehuda an Aryeh. It applies to all of them, etc. Because of this intermingling, so it's not just something unique to Yosef, the idea of growth and the idea of increase, but through this intermingling of Shvatim, this applies to all of the Shvatim, to the whole Klal Yisrael. And the special emphasis and a special, unique empowerment and all of the above in this generation. In this generation was revealed an additional concept of the month of Shvat. The 10th of Shvat is the yard site of my father-in-law, the leader of our generation, that his first name is Yosef. The 15th of this month that's connected with the Histalkus of the Frierdiker Rebbe, that on the 15th of the month, the moon is at its fullest for the month of Shvat. It becomes a fullness and completion and perfection, meaning it completes and perfects everything in the month. Especially if there are specific and unique events of that month. So how much more so does it add to those special days of the month, like the 10th of the month, which the Rebbe plays off of the pasuk that says the 10th will be holy when he calls about Meiser. So the 10th of the month of Shvat is holy. So on the 15th, it's now the completion of that. It's increased and added atop of the second column, a perfection in all matters of the yard site. The Yosef Shebedareinu of our Yosef of our generation, Vaideis and the Toisef Gam, and through this is also added Gam Bepula the Rosh Hashanah Elon, also in the effect of Rosh Hashanah of the tree. Haschol Satzmicha in Yonishal Yosef, the beginning of growth, which is the idea of Yosef. This comes down from the leader of the generation, this power for increase and growth. It comes down via the leader of the generation. So the Rebbe explains this further. In the second paragraph in the second column, the explanation of this matter is this bar leil sifhei was explained previously in sifhei. Though the perfection of growth is a very elevated service, it's a perfection that's beyond any type of measure and boundary. This comes from Yosef, and it's transmitted to all the Shvatim, because we said all the Shvatim are intermingled with each other. Hainu, this means shepoilim inyan atzmicha b'chol Yisrael, like the avas Yisrael v'achtis Yisrael. It causes and it affects the growth in all Yidden through Yidden's love for each other and the unity of Yidden between each other. Since at the conclusion of the Geulah, the double and quadruple darkness of the heels of Moshiach, it's much more difficult to actually affect and reach this perfection of growth in Avodah, which we said before, that is the Avodah of Yosef, because we are so, it's a very dark time. V'kosher Yosef lifoil Achdus Amitis V'Shleima, top of the next page. It's also a lot more difficult to affect a true unity and oneness, a complete unity of oneness, because we need to gain that level of Yosef to us, and I might not be from Shevet Yosef. So every Yid should have the level of Yosef. So what do I do? Therefore, we need an additional empowerment by in addition to the effort in growth and loving other Yidden and having unity with other Yidden by what I'm doing by myself, in addition to my own avoida in all of this, my own efforts in this, we have increased energy and power through the effect of the leader of the generation, that his name is Yosef, Roya Yisrael, the shepherd of Yidden, Noye Katzayin Yosef, that he leads his flock like Yosef supplied sustenance to the Yidden when they came to Mitzrayim. Shema'achid as Kol Yisrael, the leader of the generation, joins and unites all Yidden. As we know, HaNasi Wa'Kol, because the Nasi is all and includes all in him. Upoyel B'chol Yisrael, and influences every single Yid. Mehagodl Shebegdoil Vad Kod Shebektanim, from the greatest of the greatest to the most minor of the most minor. Vafilu Misha Motza Nimtza, most probably, but Maimid Matzah of the Acher, even someone that finds himself in the state of being an Acher, an other, like the Rebbe always says about Yoseli Ben Acher. Sha'adayin Tzrichim Lasis Soy, we still need you take that Acher, that other, and make him into a Bein. Shatia Bam Ashlemus Tzmicha, should be the perfection of growth. And then the Rebbe says, Yeshleiman, we could say, Shepulas Hatzmicha, this effect of growth, Rosh Hashanah le'ilam b'chol Yisrael shenasis ayidei nesi hadoir, that this effect of the growth, the head of the head of the year for trees in b'chol Yisrael shenasa nesi hadoir, and all the that comes through the leader of the generation. Even though the reason why there's a necessity for the leader of the generation to affect this is because of how low the generation is, since they do not have the capability to affect this on their own, they need to have the effect and they need to have the influence of the leader of the generation, along with the fact that it seems to be a result of a negative. It has an advantage over the effect of the growth that would have been accomplished just by the Shvatim on their own joined together, by the power of the people of the generation on their own, as the Rebbe will explain later on. We will skip a little bit to the next page about the Kidlakamon part, on the top of the page. B'mizmor sheboy meduber oidis kibbutz Geulah begeulah hamitis, in the capital Tillim, where it speaks about it's capital Pei Zayin, the 87th chapter, that it speaks about the gathering of the exiles when it comes to the true redemption, the final redemption. Askir Rahav Uvavel Liyoidai. I will mention, I will remember Rahav, as we'll soon explain in a moment what that is, and Bavel, that's Babylonia, to those who know, or those who are known to me. Askir es Mitzrayim ves Bavel al Yoidoi lahavia mincha. I will remember, I will recall, I will remind Mitzrayim and Bavel and those that know me to bring them as a mincha, to bring the Yidden as a gift to Hashem. What does that mean? Inyan shenamar, similar to what it says. It says that when Moshiach will come, the Goyim will bring us, will bring Yidden that are lost amongst them, that are assimilated amongst them, and they will bring them as presents to Hashem, to Moshiach. So the Rebbe goes on and says that Rashi explains further over here. Yitnu leiv levakesh v'liskers kol echad ve'echad. They will focus to search and to remember each and every one who their parentage is, where they come from. This is what Rashi says. Ze yulad sham. This one was born there. He has to do with the Yidden. He has to do with Yerushalayim, as we'll soon explain. Ze hayom mishpachas hanoilde mit Zion. This is from the families that were born in Zion. Inyan shenamar, similar to what it says, v'atem teluktu le'echad echad. You will be collected one by one. Umamshich, and he continues over there in that pasuk, uletzion ye'amar ish ve'ish yulad ba. And to Tzion they will say that man, every individual, was born over there. When the nations of the world will bring those Yidden as a gift for Hashem in Zion, Yoimar La Kol Echad Ve'echad Zeh Ma'osim Shegolum Emchom Etol. The Goyim will say and remind Kaviyachol to say this one and this one and this one, they are from those that were exiled from you and from their families, from their birthplaces, etc. By the way, the Rebbe in the footnote says it has to do with B'Shalach Paroi song. It says Paroi sent out the nation. Not Moshe took the nation out, not Hashem took the nation out. That even Paroi contributes, and he is the one that's like taking the Yidden out of Geulah. So that's the same thing. It's going to be when Moshiach comes, that the Goyim themselves are going to help the Yidden and point them out and say, you don't belong here. You are not from Geulah. You are from Tziyah. Loimar, second paragraph on the page, Kol Echad V'Echad Misrael, every single Yid, each v'each, Gam B'Yosef B'Chutz La'aretz B'Golus, even being outside of Eretz Yisrael, being in exile, B'Mitzrayim, in Mitzrayim, which is called in the Pasuk Rahav, Ubebavel, or being in Babylonia, B'Pleshes, V'Tzur, in Kush, these different countries. Pleshes is Plishtim, Tzur is in Lebanon, Kush is Africa. But the Goyim say that Metziyusei Hamit is he. What is the true being of a Yid? What is his true place? Sheyulad Babetzia in Yerushalayim Shleimus Hayira. He was born in it. What is it referring to? It's referring to Tzion. What is Tzion Yerushalayim? That the Chazal explained. Yerushalayim is in the word Yerushalayim, a complete awe of Hashem. That is the true nature of a Yid. It's possible that this is concealed, every single Yid's connection with Yerushalayim. We need a fact that this should be recognizable in a revealed way. That it was born in it, Zion. How do we affect that it should come from a state of being concealed to a revealed state? This is an influence that happens through a much higher power. The above is the one that sets this up. Similar to a different pasuk that says the same idea. Elyon lo yirak b'yachas l'tachtonim. Top of the second column, not just, we're talking about a higher level in comparison to lower levels. The Micah Mashlon, he has to tell us that we need to have a higher level for this. Even in comparison to different levels in revelations of godliness, it is considered Elyon, it's considered the most high. Since this effect occurs through the higher level, since the necessity for this Elyon to get involved, for this highest, most level to get involved, is because how low the Gullus is, ad kedei kach, to such a degree, shehu atzmei Elyon, that he himself, the highest, most level, tzadich is eiches biyad of mamish ish mkaimai, that he needs to hold kaviyakol onto the hands of each person from their place. Indian Shanamar, similar to what it says, Va'atam to look to lechod, that you will be collected one by one. So after the negative that's bringing about this need, but Lepoil, the Elyon, is the one that's doing it. So Hareza Boifan Naila B'Yoser. This is the most highest thing possible than if they wouldn't be so low that they would need Hashem to take them by the hand. Mudgish kan bepasuk shalach Hashem yisper b'chsoy v'amim zayul sham se'Allah Hashem, that it says in the following pasuk, Hashem will count in the what's written amongst the nations that this one was born there everlastingly. The mekiv shakadosh baruch hu ba'atzmei Elyon yim as Yisrael and Nivloim b'soichem b'seichel b'soilom, since Hashem Himself, the one that's Elyon, will count the Yid that are swallowed up within them amongst the nations of the world, and those that are in forced captivity amongst them. And He will extract those Yid from amongst them, the Yivrur Oisam Loi, and he will choose them out for him. It's in such a manner that they will be born over there forever. His connection with Tzion Yerushalayim is in an everlasting manner. Wherever it says, the Chazal say these expressions of either netzach or sela or void, any of those three words, it never ceases. So now we can understand something that the Rebbe raised, that the connection between people outside of Eretz Yisrael with the concept of the Reshon Lilanis, but we'll skip over to the next page. Ois Tes, top of the page. Mitzad pulas shenasi adoy b'dareinu, which is more in a similar vein. It's understood the effect of the growth that we're talking about, the new year for the trees in all Yid, because of the influence of the leader of our generation, in our generation, which is my father-in-law, the other the Friedrich Rebbe. Though the necessity that there should be the effect of the leader generations, because like we said before, we are so low and it's much more difficult for us to affect this growth on our own. Since eventually this effect occurs through the leader of our generation. The Yosva generation, Shema'achid, is called Yisrael, that he joins all the Yidden, Upoil Bem Shleimus HaTzmicha, and the effect in all the Yidden, the perfection of the growth, Bechinase Shal Yosef, the level of Yosef, Shemechuven Keneged Chodesh Shvat, that corresponds to the month of Shvat. So it's in a much higher way than the effect that would take place through the unity of the generation on their own, because it's the Friedrich Rebbe that's helping them do it. Let's see one more thing. Okay, and then he goes on and says, "Me'ein dugma l'davar." A similarity to this idea is Pulas Yud Beis Ashvatim Ayidei Yud Beis Achadoshim Benegel Legeirim, is the effect of the 12 months, the 12 Shvatim through the 12 months concerning converts. Though the converts are not considered one of the 12 tribes, so the Rebbe says, "Lo yitachin lo ymashi yechser etzlam chas v'sholem hashpol shaydei hashvatim." Heaven forbid to say that any of the spiritual hamshachas and hashpos and influences of the 12 tribes is missing. K'moi chibasin shal Yisrael shmizbates b'minyanam. For example, the love of the Jewish people that's expressed in the counting of the shvatim, skip the parentheses, Al pi hachaluka l'shvatim, according to the division of the different shvatim, in Yoni avoided the whole shevet, v'chodesh mesuyim v'kiyotz v'zeh. They cannot be lacking the different types of avodah of every single shevet that has to do with that particular shevet. So therefore, we must say, how does a convert, how does a ger have this level of the 12 shvatim within him, not on its own connection with the 12 shvatim each other, through the unique effect of Hashem, skip the parentheses. Top of the second column, then the effect that would have been, if I'm from a shevet, so then it's something that's happening for myself. But if I'm not part of a shevet because I'm a ger, so then it's Hashem doing this. Similar to what the Rambam writes in his well-known responsa to the Rabbi Vadia, the convert, though Gerim are not considered in the lineage as part of Avram Yitzchak Yankov's offspring like all Yidden, their lineage is much greater than a regular Yid. Their lineage is directly to the one who said and created the world. Yes, Shloimer, we could say Shematzada in the Achdus Yisrael because of the idea of the unity of Yidden. Men, women, and children, and your converts that are within your gates. So Yidden get and share in the unique connection that Gelim have with Hashem, this direct connection, because of the unity of all Yidden with the Ger. So too in the case that we're talking about over here. There's a special advantage in the effect and influence of the leader of our generation and the idea of that Hashem should add to me another son. Las is ma'acher ben, to make a acher, another, someone that doesn't identify with Yiddishkeit completely, to make him into a son, legalis etzle hu ben yamin, to reveal by him that he's also a son of the right ben Eretz Yisrael, a son of Eretz Yisrael, like Binyamin was born in Eretz Yisrael, as opposed to all the other Shvatim that were born in in the house of Lavan, etc. Sheyulad ba b'tzion, that he was born in it in Tzion. Even the acher that you're turning into a ben will be revealed, the perfect and complete growth, the head of the tree, the head of the years for trees. Until those types of fruits that Yisrael is praised by. And not only that, because the idea of the unity of Yidden to happen in the last page of our copies, that they become united even with those that initially were in the level of another. And how much more so they're joined with those that were a ger. That says many times, the ger that's within you. This specific advantage is increased in all Yidden. Similar and like this advantage that's added by all the Yidden through the unity with the converts, like we said before. Moving from this understood. When we're involved in the mission of our leader of our generation, spreading Torah and Yiddishkeit, including also the spreading of the well springs of the inner part of the Torah, which is the oil of the Torah. That earlier he also explained that Usher has to do with oil, and Usher is according to a different count, the Shevet of this month. That we spread chutza outward, the Yosef Hashem li ben acher, that Hashem should add for me another son. Especially, we are now coming from the yahrzeit of the Stalkos of the Friedrich Rebbe, and in that year, the Tavshim Memtes of B'Shnasar Boim, it was the 40th year. The Rabbi, that we say at the 40th year, you reach the mind of your Rebbe. That Hashem gave you the knowledge, the heart to know. Then it's increased much more powerfully in the influence and the empowerment of the Yosef of our generation concerning the idea of the growth of Yosef, the idea of Rosh Hashanah of Ilonais. By the way, he says in the previous footnote that Sion is the gematria, for those that like gematrias over here. Sion is gematria Yosef. So the whole capital Til that we were talking about, that it has to do with Yitzia and Yulad Ba, etc., has even more to do with Yosef.